random.
Okay, nice, great.
But let's start, and I'll give a bit of background into Josephine. So Josephine is a public speaker, a yoga teacher, and a healer. So she's a bit of everything, to be honest. And she's been teaching for the yoga agency since we started in 2018. So we love her, and our clients love her. And I'm just, maybe Josephine can tell us a little bit about how you got into wellness and your story, basically.
Sure. So I'm trying to keep it really short and brief here, but basically, I'm sure you know, Tilly, my background is that I trained as a ballerina at the Royal Danish Ballet. And even at the age of 12, because we had a little room sort of holiday, and I was always really nervous when we had holidays, because it meant that, you know, I couldn't keep up that sort of level of athleticism, essentially. So I found a little yoga class, sneaked my way in, because back then yoga wasn't a thing that everyone did. It was kind of, you know, few people did it. And anyway, so I sneaked my way in at the age of 12 and hated every single second. I was like, oh my God, there's no music. Like, I feel so weak. You know, what is this about? And then something special happened towards the end when we were in Shavasana. For those of you guys that don't do yoga yet, is the part of the class where you all lie down and you just allow yourself to completely let go. And what happened, so at the age of 12, this yoga teacher took me on this little journey, sort of from head to toe, just a little guided relaxation. And that was, for me, that was like, I was just sold. I was like, wow, this is so amazing. I don't know what she did, but at some point in my life, I want to be able to do and hold space like she does. I want to be able to create a space that people can just feel safe, they can feel themselves, and they can feel like it's okay to just relax. That was sort of really what sparked it, to be honest, Tilly. And then, you know, it took many years of me being a professional dancer, doing all sorts of different things. But I also sort of kept coming back to yoga. And at the age of 16, I started getting into a lot into aromatherapy. I started getting into meditation. And then, you know, that was always sort of aromatherapy, meditation, yoga sort of was always with me throughout my professional journey as an actress and a yoga teacher, and as a dancer and as a model. That was where my main things. And then it wasn't until maybe I trained around my sort of mid-20s that I decided that I really wanted to change my life around. Because it felt like, from the outside, it felt like life was great. You know, I was traveling all the time. I had lots of modeling work, lots of dance jobs. But on the inside, I felt really empty, and I felt really alone, and I felt really lost in a big city that London is and can be. And that was the time when I started to sort of really go, you know, back into, well, what brings me happiness? You know, essentially, what else is important in your life? You know, if you're not feeling happy on the inside. And for me, it was a mega big breakthrough to be like, you know what, I'm going to do this yoga teacher training. I'm going to spend the money. I'm going to take up the time just for me. And simultaneously to that, I also did a healing course, like I did a year course in Glastonbury with my teachers there. And again, I didn't do that thinking, no, I'm going to be a healer. You know, I'm going to, you know, I really just did it, you know, from that really selfish point of like, I need this, you know, like in my life, and I want to, you know, find more balance. And so I did it from that perspective, really to like, you know, create the life that felt good for me personally. And then from that, like, you know, fast forwarding, you know, a few years, it became my not only my joy, my passion, and my dream life, it became my livelihood as well, you know. And yeah, I'm just super grateful for it. So that's sort of like really the sped up version that started out at the age of 12. I had this like moment of like, wow, whatever it is she is doing, I want to be able to do that too. And yeah, and here we are now.
Yeah, I love that. And I think also, like, one of the things you do a lot of is your talks. And I've noticed that they all seem to be themed around this topic of staying positive, creating joy, and happiness. And
Yeah.
so it'd be really interesting to know, like, what brings you happiness and what brings you joy.
Oh, bless you. Okay, so number one is being in nature. For me, it's extremely important to feel connected. We're all different. As well as I'm very much an extrovert, I'm also an introvert. But I really need this huge sense of connection. So what we're going through right now is actually quite a big challenge, you know, for me personally, because I love to connect. And that's why it's so important that I take the time out to be in nature, because I feel, although there's not a lot of other people around, I feel the most connected to sort of the world and to myself when I'm in nature. And then also, even just, you know, like we're doing now, being able to use the internet and to connect that way at the moment is super important. It's definitely something that brings me joy. Otherwise, of course, yoga, you know, again, being in my element where I'm just breathing and I'm feeling my breath. brings me great joy. I love guided meditations. So for me, it's like, yes, I can sit and meditate on my own, but again, I like that sense of connection. So I like to just lie down, put on some guided meditation and put into, you know, get me into that blissful space. What else brings me joy? Being with my boyfriend, you know, it's really basic things. I love tea. It's like, check that out, you know, it brings me so much joy. And it's such, but there you go, right? Cheers.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, I think the more we can find like really simple things that we enjoy in life, in everyday life, the more you're constantly, you know, sort of raising your own vibration into that space where you're just fueling your own happiness. Does that make sense? Because I think so often it's like we do these things where like, well, I'm really happy when I travel, and I'm like, yeah, but you don't travel all the time. You know, you can't have your high moments like twice a year or whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
It's like, so lots of things brings me happiness. Like even like my shower routine in the morning, I'm all like, yeah, here I am, and I've got my homemade body scrub. And does that make sense, Tilly? It's like lots of things in life brings me happiness, but you know, they do because I focus on them. You know, I've taken so long, and I continue to write down what brings me happiness, and then I really practice it. You know, cooking nice food, of course, being with friends and family, all that kind of good stuff. But also, like, a huge part of me is what brings me happiness is to just be connected fully to myself, connected with my friends, connected with nature, you know, flowers. I mean, sorry, I can go on forever about what brings me happiness, but it really is, I think the biggest word here is really connection. And that's why I was so happy that you were like, oh, you want to do the same, Josie? And I was like, yeah, I totally do. You know, it's a nice thing when we sort of check in and we see each other, and, you know, we can see all these little people popping up down here now, you know, you guys are listening in. That makes me so happy, you know, to feel that I'm not alone in this, you know, we're here, we're together. That's beautiful. Yeah.
I love that. And so guys, I think you probably already know this, but please do ask questions or comments, because Josephine is here and she will be able to answer them. So please do put them in the comments section. But I think you already tapped on this, but do you have like some really persuasive reasons that people should be trying to make these little micro moments of joy in their life every day? Like what's the why, I guess?
Okay, so the why for me is that, from my own research, is that it is what we do every single day that really creates our life experience. So again, you know, quite often people come to me and they're like, oh, you know, I want to feel better in my life. You know, once I've lost the weight, or once I've got this perfect boyfriend or this perfect girlfriend, etc., etc. And it's such big milestones. And then people believe that then they will be happy. But the point is, even if they achieve those things, happiness doesn't just come. It's not like a button that you go, yeah, boom, that's it. Now I'm amazing. I feel really good about myself. I really, truly believe that it's about incorporating rituals in everyday life throughout your day that actually brings you a sense of well-being and a sense of self-love and a sense of just feeling good within yourself. And that's why I think it's so vital that we start to cultivate and we start to become aware of what brings us joy throughout our day. And so, you know, I do the talks about the positive rituals. And so one of my number one tips is, when you wake up in the morning, within the first 17 seconds, and this is actually scientifically proved, so Google it if you like, guys. Within the first 17 seconds of waking up, think about what you're grateful for. And again, that's a mental practice, right? Because usually we wake up and we're straight into like, okay, damn, I'm teaching in this amount of time, or I need to rush and get the kids done, or whatever, right? But if you can come into a space where you wake up and just for the first 17 seconds, you just run through a little mental list of lots of things you're grateful for. And, you know, those things may be different. My number one is like, yeah, I woke up and I'm still alive. Whoop, this is great, right? And I looked at my partner and I'm like, damn, he's alive too. This is great too. And you know how, like, it seems so basic, right? But it's all of those things. When we start to see it like a miracle, then all of a sudden life feels so much more joyful. Life feels so much more magic. And then it's like, then you're living your dream life every day. Does that make sense? And yeah, that doesn't mean that you're not going to have days where you don't feel overwhelmed, etc. Because of course, we're human beings with lots of, you know, of fluctuating emotions, and that's all good. But it does mean that, you know, you will already every single day being drawn towards that which ultimately will bring you joy throughout your life. It won't just be okay, my goal is to reach this point, and once I get there, then I can allow myself to be happy and sort of expect that then happiness is going to blossom. Because I just don't think it works like it. You know, I'm sure we've all experienced lots of different things, right? So we wanted to get the promotion, then we got there, and for a moment we had a split boost of happiness, and then it kind of stopped, right? And then we have another goal and we want to get there, and then we allow ourselves to be happy. But actually, you know, I really believe that, you know, joyfulness, it comes from a state of gratitude. It comes from a state of allowing ourselves to take the time out, ask ourselves, what brings me joy? And what brings you joy may change, right? So what is bringing you joy today may be different in a year's time, etc. But, you know, the more we can tune into it, the more I 100% believe that not only are you going to have a more joyful life, which means you have a healthier state of mind, a healthier body, you know, it also means that you are a better person to be around. And ultimately, it means that then it's going to be so much easier for you to understand what is right for you and what isn't. Does that make sense? So i.e., by creating these positive rituals throughout our day, every single day checking in and every single day cultivating these nourishing rituals, it allows us to come into a space where we are then ultimately being drawn to our, you know, well, it sounds a little out there, but we're being drawn to our destiny in the most beautiful way. Because I think a lot of the time, again, people come and they're like, so I don't really know what I want with my life, but I know that I feel like I should have a purpose and I don't know what it is. And it's like, if we can constantly be cultivating that which feels good, and if we can lean into the feeling good feeling, then I really believe that that which you think of as your destiny or your next goal is going to reveal itself all by itself. Does that make sense, Tilly?
Yeah,
you know, I think it's you know what I mean? It's just like we have to slow down and start looking at the everyday life experience and make that the ultimate destination, not something out in 5 years from now, you know? Of course, you can dream towards that and work towards that, but if your everyday life isn't working the way you want it to, then stop and start right there. Start with what is already in your life and start to sort out, shift and sort it out and go, okay, this is good, I'm going to bring in more of this. This is not so good, I'm going to let go of some of that. So start right now with how you are already now.
Yeah, I love that. I think as well, you mentioned about waking up and like seeing that your partner's alive as well.
Yeah.
That really resonated with me, because me and my boyfriend had like a period where we just got so sort of taking each other for granted a bit.
Yeah.
And we both kind of just had to step back and be like, let's remember how lucky we are.
Yeah.
So I think that's such a good point. And do you have any like, what things do you do to sort of create that joy for him as well?
Sorry, darling, if I have anything to what?
Do you have any things that you do to bring joy to him as well? Like, how do you show that?
Oh, bless you, you're so sweet. I think the most powerful way we can show joy to our partner, or to give joy to our partner, is actually to be joyful with ourselves first. So of course, yes, I'm like anyone else. I do little surprises for my boyfriend, and I try and, even small things. I give him flowers sometimes, and I make surprise dates. I do lots of little things for him. But I think the ultimate and sort of deeper and easier way of really showing that love for our partners is by being joyful within ourselves first. Because otherwise, as we all know, if we're not feeling good, we're just not going to be that great to be around. And I know it within myself. Whenever my mind goes in, because I'm a human being like everyone else. Whenever my mind goes into that mindset of like, ooh, I'm not really sure I'm with the right guy. Oh, what is he doing now? This kind of judging person, just judging mind.
Whenever that's not listening,
right? But whenever that happens, I know that it's got nothing to do with him. It's got everything to do with me. It's got everything to do with me not feeling great about myself that day. And then what do? Okay, I look at my positive list with what brings me joy. And usually what I need to do is just go out and be by myself, be in nature, go into meditation. That's my way of doing it. Everyone is going to have a different way. Someone who's an artist maybe needs to paint or to sing or to dance or whatever, But I really think the best thing we can do, because of course there's lots of nice little rituals that we can do for our partners. Maybe it's the fact that you make them a cup of tea in the morning. That's amazing. Do you know what I mean? Or you just check in with them and you just ask how you're feeling or how was your day. Again, it's really small things, Does that make sense?
Yeah, total sense. I love it. I actually do that one. I make tea sometimes in the morning.
Exactly, right?
Yeah.
And it's like super nice. And then I think also, again, when it comes to doing nice things for others, especially the people that are close to us, you know, like love relationships, friends, etc., one of the best things we can actually do is, number one, look after our own health, make sure we're in a good space. But number two, ask them. So just be upfront and ask what brings you joy. Or, you know, if that feels too weird to say exactly that, maybe just ask, you know, what's the best things I can do for you to make you feel amazing? You know, what do you really love when I do? Because, you know, again, with my own relationship, you know, we all have our own ideas of how to show love and how love should be shown, right? So in my mind, it's like, well, you know, I should just write poems and I should just cuddle him all the time and I should wear this amazing outfit. And I don't know, these are my little ideas. And then I spoke to my partner about it, and you know, and he was like, you know, what his idea of love is and how he feels really loved is totally different to mine. And I was like, damn, but all the things I do are really special. And he was like, they are, but I really like this. So what I was doing for him that I thought was a minute thing was like the biggest thing in his life. Does that make sense? Yeah. And then vice versa. It was quite, you know, interesting as well, where I was going, actually, the things that makes me feel really loved are things that he hadn't really thought much of. So it's so important that we constantly check in with one another and with our partners and actually just ask the question, you know, what makes you feel amazing? How can I support you? You know?
Yeah, that's so true. And one of the other amazing things that you do is chair yoga.
Yeah.
And obviously lots of people are sitting down at desks all day. Yes. And I guess the ideal thing would be just to get up and maybe move away from your chair. But let's say they are bound to their chair. Do you have like just a couple of stretches you can show that you love?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, you know, so you're really onto something right now, Tilly, because obviously, you know, most people are all working from home, and that means we're sat in weird spaces and maybe the table's too high or the chair's too low, or, you know, we're in some weird, you know, part of our kids' bedroom or whatever, right? So especially now more than ever is a really good time to just, you know, make sure that you're doing a little stretch. And sort of what I would say again, kind of similar to the daily rituals, it's more important that you do a little bit often than you do a really big one like every 3 months, right? So the best thing, one of the most important things I would say is make sure you do twists. So the spine, if you see it, it's like bones, they're stacked upon one another, right? Now the thing about the spine is that these bones not only bend forward and back or side to side, they also twist around one another. And what quite often happens, which I know, Tilly, you know all about, what quite often happens is that when we're sitting down for long periods of time, the energy can't move and that spine becomes really stagnant, it kind of becomes really stiff, and that means we experience backache, etc. And also when we've got a backache, because we're pulling and tightening the muscles around the spine to protect the spine, that whole area gets inflamed. That means it's pulling from the belly. So quite often when you've got a belly ache, it actually starts in the spine, or vice versa, just a little side thing. So a stretch we can do is just a really simple twist. So number one, you could have your hands onto your shoulders and you literally just twist from side to side, but stay seated. So your hip bones are still facing me and you're just twisting from side to side. This is a really easy one to do. You could also go a little deeper and try and work the core by placing the hands to the center of your chest. I'm trying to make sure you can see me. That's it. And then come to the front of your seat. So you're further away from the backrest. That's it. Inhale and then exhale to your right. And then just back to center and exhale into your left. And try and keep that little prayer. Keep your hands right in the center of your chest. That's it. Very nice, you guys. And again, this feels so simple that it's kind of like, could that really be it? But it is it. Again, my poor partner, who's always my guinea pig, he suffered from quite a lot of lower back pain before he met me, also higher back pain. And I kept asking him, how often do you do your twists? And he was like, that surely can't help, right? And then next thing you know, he was like, wow, that is so true. Like he started doing it, because I just say on the hour, every hour. And that's really improved. Like he's currently pain-free. So, you know, it is a fact that our bodies are meant to be moving, not sat down all day. So, you know, doing that one, really, really good one. Another one, interlace the hands behind your head. And you're just going to open up, lifting up through the heart. And as you exhale, you're just going to round forward. Really, really simple one. And you just go here in your own time. And remember, so if you're right now sat there going, but Josie, I've got a super stiff neck, this is not going to work. No, it may just alleviate your pain a little bit today. But remember, this pain happened because you were sitting still for a really long time. So if you do it over and over, like frequently, you know, so doing that one, or even just hands down to the thighs, tuck your chin to your chest, and just creating little sort of half circles. So again, it's just about getting the blood flowing it's about allowing all of your joints to really maximize their ability, their range of motion, and, you know, just looking from side to side. So these are just sort of really easy ones. Final one, you want to think about your hip flexors. So if you're looking down to your hips, where your femur bones, your thigh bones are connecting into your hip sockets, these muscles around your hips tend to get really tight because we're sitting down. So I'm not going to demo this now, but imagine you're just standing up and you're literally creating circles with your hips. It's so simple. So exactly that. Right? It's such a simple one, but what we want to do is, again, just get that blood flowing in and around the hip area. It's a really nice one. So these are really simple ones that everyone can do wherever you are and whatever age you are, and that's really beautiful. I think there's a question down here. Do you want to have a
look? So from Kat Berry, who is my sister, who's upstairs right now.
Yeah.
The muscles at the bottom of my neck are always so painful from leaning over a laptop. Do you have any chair yoga tips for that?
So I think, Kat, because this is obviously something that is happening a lot, what I would suggest, and, you know, it kind of happens from this because we kind of do this when we sit there and look, you know, and again, different height of chairs and tables, you know, it's not quite balanced. What I would quite, you know, enjoy, imagine that you have your shoulders right above your hips, and it's going to feel weird to sit like this, right? But shoulders above hips. And then number two, there's a really nice thing called an acupressure cushion. Do you know those ones, Tilly? So it's basically a cushion. It's a blow-up cushion made out of plastic, yay. And it's got lots of little acupressure, so points sticking up.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Oh, I've seen the mats.
That's it. It's not one of the mats, but this is a little cushion. You buy it on Amazon. I think it's £6. I think it's called an acupressure cushion, right? And it's a little seat. It's about this high, and you sit on it. And what it does is that you actually have to constantly be using your core a little bit. So that means we're stimulating, you know, the blood flow around the spine, around your hips, and remember, everything is connected. So if this is, you know, you won't be like sitting super hula hooping, but if you're constantly a little bit
in the Zoom meeting,
that's what I totally just did. If you're constantly sitting there, just a little bit, you know, a little bit core work, you will have this energy that will go up and down your spine, and this will help to release your neck. And because it's not that easy sitting on this chair, it will also help you to just remember lifting up through crown of head, down through the sitting bones, shoulders above the hips, and a little bit of core engagement. So as I said, Kat, of course, this is not magically just going to, you know, remove your pain in your neck today. For today, what you could try and do is create a little bit of heat in your hands. And that's it. Lots of nice energy here. And then once the palms are nice and warm, literally just place them onto the neck. And then remember, you're the best person to know you. So you know where that pain is. So then gently, you can just ever so slightly stimulate the tissue around that neck, wherever it's feeling a little painful. If it's feeling super painful, don't really dig in. Just sort of a nice little gentle massage. Maybe try and massage the places around that place that feels painful, so not on the place itself. And then finally, just do some sweeping movements, because what we're doing right now, as we're sweeping, we are literally releasing the energy. Again, you can go like, is that really working? It will work, because just relax. Because remember, everything is energy. That means every single thing, when we look through a microscope, every single thing is moving. That means it's energy. And the same way here. So when we're doing this sweeping thing, we are literally telling our body, let it go. Like, release that pain, just let it go. Yeah? So these are just a few different tips.
So helpful. Thank you.
Oh, bless you. Hope it was helpful.
We've only got a few minutes left, and I just wanted to ask you a little bit about your aromatherapy, because that's one thing I haven't got to experience with you, but I know it's amazing because some of our clients told me.
Bless you.
So yeah, what's it about?
So essential oils, you know, they are very much what they're taught, what you know, in the word. They're the essences of different plants. So the essence is kind of like, you can imagine, it's literally the very the very essence of what the plant is about. So if you have an essential oil of sweet orange, for instance, that's like 15 milliliter tall, can you imagine how many oranges are pressed to be in there? So we use the peel when it's an essential oil of orange. Well, I'll tell you, it's 155. So I know, right? So imagine the smell, the sweet scent of the orange in that bottle is 155 peels that has been pushed together, and now they're in the bottle. And what it does is that it makes them extremely potent and extremely powerful. So, you know, everything around us, everything is energy. Everything with the plants are there to help us to either uplift or to ground or to relax or to do detoxify. We all know that if you've been to Neil's yard, you know, you'll be like, oh, okay, you want to energize that citrus section, right? And you want to calm down. We know it from lavender, we know it from chamomile. You've got something to go on, you know, something's going on with your digestive system. We're going to use peppermint or fennel, for instance, right? So all different plants works like medicine for the mind, body, and spirit. Now, what essential oils do as well is that unlike a perfume, which is artificially produced, the perfume, you may enjoy the experience for a brief moment, but as the perfume is not a natural essence, it will not really go in and help balance your mind, body, and spirit. It will just give you a quick little boost of like, oh, I feel good. Whereas the essential oil not only smells gorgeous, it actually goes in and it works on all levels. So it allows your mind to relax or to, you know, create clarity, similarly to how it allows the body to relax or to be uplifted. So essential oils are crazy powerful, but then number one, they smell amazing. So it's a beautiful thing to really work with to find balance. You can work with them similarly to how you would work with any kind of herbal medicine. So remember, with herbal medicine, unlike Western medicine that goes in and the Western medicine tries to just kind of, you know, by the way, I love Western medicine. It's amazing. Otherwise we wouldn't be where we are today, right? But Western medicine usually very much can't, you know, it can't localize the problem. It goes in and it treats the whole body. On one hand, that's amazing because you have a quick result. But on the other hand, you know, you take an antihistamine because, you know, you've got something going on in your nose and all of a sudden your whole nervous system is kind of like, you know, slowed down a little bit. That's not ideal in the long run. Whereas, you know, aromatherapy and other herbal medicines, it may work, you may see the results slightly slower because it takes place under, you know, over longer periods. But instead of whacking the body into a different space, it slowly will bring your body into a space of ideal balance, what is ideal for you personally. Does that make sense? So it's like essential oils are, you know, so you guys have done my classes before. I use them a lot for room sprays. I walk around and do a little massage maybe. In my workshops, I talk a lot about how each oil works in different levels of mind, body, and spirit. I also show you how you can do like a little home, you know, body scrub for yourself. It's so easy. This is the beautiful thing about them as well. You know, there's a few oils, just like anything in nature, that we have to be a little bit mindful about. We can't use too big doses. With essential oils, it's always like less is more. But the main thing about them is that, you know, they really want to work with us. They really want to help. Yeah, they're just beautiful.
So last question, if you had just one recommendation for one essential oil to invest in now,
yeah,
what would it be?
I think it would be sweet orange. So sweet orange is a really, really beautiful oil that you can even use with children around and animals around. And it's naturally uplifting and it naturally boosts your immune system and it naturally boosts your overall feeling of well-being. So it's a very uplifting oil. And I think in these times where, you know, we all have, you know, we're going through challenging times, it's really nice to have something that is a mood booster, but you know you're not going to have the antidote of like falling down that you would have after any kind of caffeine or sugar hit, right? So essential oil of sweet orange is definitely my number one personally at the moment.
Love it. Okay, we've got so many good tips from you. Thank you so much for coming on.
You're
Honestly,
so welcome, honey. Time always goes by so fast, right?
Yeah, I know, so fast. And thank you everyone for joining. If anyone's got any last minute questions, post them now. I'm going
to do. Absolutely. Please do. Thank you so much for joining, all of you guys. And yeah, if you have anything you want to ask, just go ahead. Anything you want to have clarification on, and otherwise, yeah, I just hope to see you another time.
And also, if anyone wants to find out how to make your own essential oils at home, head to Josephine's website, or is it on your Instagram as well?
To be honest, how you do it yourself, I don't actually post it. I normally just run it and I teach it in my workshops, but it's very straightforward. So, you know, yeah, get in touch if you're really eager to know more.
Are you doing online aromatherapy workshops?
Yeah, so I've just done 2 and I haven't posted the next one coming up, but I'll do another one here end of May, beginning of June. So just, yeah, watch the space, josephinemcgrail.com or josephinemcgrail12. Definitely, I always post about it in both places. So absolutely, that would be great.
Amazing. Okay, so just really quick recap.
Sure.
Don't forget to twist on your chairs.
That's it.
Make sure every morning when you wake up, you take about 15 seconds to just be grateful for everything you have, and create lots of joy every day. and get some sweet orange, was it?
That's it.
Essential oil.
And one last thing we forgot to talk about, journaling. So, you know, journaling is a big one. Again, with the gratitude, if you're not used to thinking like that, which most people aren't, it's going to feel a little bit untangible. It's a bit weird, but writing it down makes it really clear, and it really sort of reinforces the experience of how the eyes of, you know, taking in that information is kind of being brought to you a second time. So it really kind of reconfirms back to you what you had already stated in your mind. So journaling about your gratitude, I suggest in the morning when you wake up, just write down what you're grateful for. It could be 3 things, it could be 19, there's no limits, you know, but make it a regular practice, and put it down in the present form. So it's not like, I'm so grateful that in 2 months I am, I love my life. I'm grateful for my radiant health. I'm grateful for living in abundance on all levels, mind, body, spirit. I'm grateful that I'm alive. I'm grateful that I have a new opportunity to live on this planet, etc. Right, guys? Yeah. So journaling, big one. Okay, that's it.
Thank you, Josephine.
Thank you so much.
We'll hopefully get you back on soon. But yeah, have a lovely weekend, everybody. Thank you for joining.
Thank you so much, everyone. Lots of love. And happy 1st of May. Yay.
Yes, happy May.
Lots of love. Bye-bye, guys.
Bye. Bye-bye.